will continue explaining why the idea of death that you have nowadays on Earth is not very beneficial for the whole humanity and for your soul. Again, I want to remind you, I'm not saying death is bad at all. But if you will have a new common belief, something which many people on Earth have known, but which has remained hidden, the belief and the knowledge of immortality. If that knowledge will be extended and known by everybody, that will bring certain benefits to the whole humanity. If that will be a common and accepted belief. I'm not saying everyone can reach immortality, as it's not easy. There is a huge amount of healing which have to be done. And the present energies on Earth are not easy to handle. But just to try it, or just to know that it is a possibility and just to work on it, will be immensely beneficial for your collective. To really accelerate the growth of your soul. And to say it simple, to stop thinking that big meeting with God will happen on the moment of your death and not while you are alive. It's funny that some religions have extended the belief that there is something to be fearful of when you die, some God which will punish you or recriminate things that you have done. Or some God which will say, congratulations, you have been good. That cannot be farther from the truth, as God is just love and it's just a big welcoming love. If you have hurted others during your life, there is no punishment. It's just your soul that haven't understood some things about love. It's just your soul vibrating on a low frequency. And yes, you may have to face that suffering you gave to others, just to learn about it and to grow and to transcend that. But my friend, you won't face that in any kind of special place where you go when you die. You will face that here on Earth, when you come back to learn what you haven't understood. But let's talk about why immortality, or at least trying to achieve it, is very beneficial for your karma. For what you call karma, for your soul realization and for the things that you have to transcend. So let's say every life is a different school. Let's say you are in one of your lives and suddenly you stop learning. For some reason you cannot heal from some wounds you have. You get stuck in that wounds and you cannot welcome new lessons. You cannot learn more and you decide and unconsciously wish to go, and you decide it's time to go when you are done. You go and you make a new plan. Like if you were in one school and you could not learn more there, and you decide to change your school, to renew yourself in a new school. So it's good, you decide to have a new life and to continue learning the lessons that you couldn't learn before. And you choose a specific family and a specific body which will help you to learn those lessons that you couldn't learn. I will give you a very simple example, just for you to understand it better. Let's say you have been a very intolerant person. Somebody who could not accept people with different ideas. Somebody who was very strict with his faith and who will call everybody else sinners. You may be born yourself in a family where your parents are very strict and very intolerant, and you may be, for example, let's say, homosexual. Please remember, karma is not that simple, I'm just making an example. That situation, that new situation you have chosen, will help you understand what you couldn't understand at all in your past life. But that will not be that easy. Let's say that homosexual boy who was born in that family will not just wake up one day and say, oh, I was born in that family because I chose this myself to learn this and that. As reincarnation implies absolute forgetfulness, that person will have to go through a whole process. Through a process which is not easy in the world you live in. First, we'll have to remember that you are something else, that's something physical, and that there is a soul. After that, we'll have to remember that there is different lives. Then he will have to remember his own past life. And he will have to connect all the dots again to understand why this is happening to him. Or let's say there is a different situation and he was a Buddhist monk in his past life. And he had so much knowledge and he was so advanced, he was progressing so much. If he reincarnates, of course all that knowledge will be in his soul, but he will have to go through a whole process of remembering all the knowledge he has stored inside. A process of being aware of all those things that he had accumulated on his soul. Imagine that instead of reincarnating, instead of having, let's say, 3 different lifetimes, 3 different lives, you decide to live as long as 3 entire lives. Let's say 200, 300 years. Then all those lessons that you will get little by little in every lifetime, you will get it anyway. But you will not have to remember what happened in your past life. You will not have to go through hypnosis to remember any knowledge you had on your past life. You will know way more easily why certain things are happening to you, because you will perfectly remember your actions. And if you will get lessons from, let's say, other past life you had very, very long ago, you will already have had time to master a way to connect to those past life and understand what these lessons are trying to tell you and why certain things are happening to you. So let's say you will be an advantaged student because you will not have to go through the forgetfulness of reincarnation. Of course, sometimes that forgetfulness is necessary because there is too much guilt or that person just cannot advance anymore. But also the fact of having more time on earth will make it easier for you to learn some techniques to connect with God, to connect with spiritual beings that are around you helping you. And like that, you could make a way wiser use of the life you are having, as you will be guided. You are always guided, but when you master certain techniques, you can have direct communication with those beings or with God. So to say it in a simple way, you understand a class better if you can have direct phone calls with a private teacher. There is another reason why immortality is very beneficial on a karmic level. Let me explain it with an example which is in the Bible. The Bible has knowledge, but it has been completely misunderstood. I hope you know the story of when Jesus is on the cross with 2 thieves. Those 2 thieves both had a dark life, a completely meaningless life. But suddenly one of the thieves makes a big act of faith and innocence. He reconnects with that innocence he had on his childhood. He decides to believe in something which probably goes completely against the belief system of his society. And he decides to believe in a man which is being ridiculized and mistreated and who is not even saving himself. He decides to believe in something which would seem not logical for most of people of that time. He haven't been a Jesus follower or he haven't seen any miracles. He's not supposed to come from anywhere where people is following Jesus. But somehow he is able to just drop everything and just believe. Those big acts of faith, even if it happens just like that, just all of a sudden, reconnecting with the faith and innocence of a kid, it's like a big shot of light which can clarify many of the accumulated karma. That story is supposed to teach that a big act of faith can cancel many of the karmic debts you had. That's why Jesus tells him, "You will be on heaven with me," trying to say that many of his karmic lessons have been cancelled with that act of faith. Time doesn't really exist. You can go from 0 to 10 in a second. You never know which kind of big jump a human may make in his own personal evolution. But reconnecting with your innocence and with your faith can indeed clarify many karma depths. As karma is not a punishment, it's just like a shower which is cleaning you. And when you can connect with the essence of your inner child who is full of faith, that means you somehow connected with the light and with a high vibration of love, as faith and love are directly related. And that faith may cancel many lessons that you had to learn, because you already learned it and you already are in a higher place. Some very evolved humans and very evolved beings still have to go through suffering, because karma is not something which can be mathematically calculated. It's a very complicated subject which I will explain in other messages. But the essence of your inner child, which contains faith, love, joy, innocence, that essence which may be able to even believe in immortality, that will get you way farther on your spiritual path as much as any other big act of faith. Another reason is that if immortality is one of your goals, that will require that you work a lot on yourself and on your spiritual life. To attain it, you will have to fully forgive, you will have to develop a strong faith, you will have to follow certain disciplines which will get your body on a higher vibration. All this work you will have to do to keep your body connected with God and to the source of life and alive will get your soul way farther on your spiritual path. So even if you don't attain immortality in this current life, just the fact of believing on it and working on it will hugely benefit your soul. And you may attain it just right after on your next life. Even if you won't remember this concept at first, you will have very early on in life a very strong impulse and a very strong connection towards immortality. Plus, when you achieve immortality, that means you eventually will be able to dematerialize your body just by choice. I know that concept seems just like a fantasy and seems so strange. But even if it's very difficult nowadays because of the very dense energies on Earth, and maybe it takes a lot of years and maybe different lives, but humans are absolutely capable of doing that if they will be connected with the true power they have inside. Nowadays, humans are not connected even with a tiny little part of all this power they actually have. You have to remember, if they make all these efforts to control you and to hypnotize you in many ways, it's because they are afraid of your power and because they feed off your power and your energy, and they know all the precious energy you have. You are the ones who doesn't know. When I say they, I mean some of the negative forces which are now ruling Earth. Those are some of the reasons why immortality may help you with your karma lessons and with your progress as a soul. Also, that is not a very strong reason, but is also a point that you get direct feedback on your own body. You are able to see if the power of your faith is strong enough to be able to keep the life force on your cells. So the way you look is not important at all, but your body is constantly giving you messages about the state of your soul. Your body can guide you very well. In fact, it's very important that when you are sick, you listen to the message that sickness is giving to you. Because every sickness of your body is a spiritual lesson that you have to understand. And if you understand it, that sickness, that message of your body, can actually benefit your soul, can actually make you grow so much, and can give you more happiness than you had before. Never dismiss the information that your own body is giving you, because it's there to help you. The body has been seen as something impure. in many spiritual traditions. Nowadays, the image of your body is sometimes used to degrade you, to minimize your value, to minimize what you truly are. But your body is actually divine, and it's an extension of your energy which is here to help you grow. And those of you who are connected with a higher understanding of beauty, you understand that beauty is the energy that you can see in a body, and not the body by itself. Maybe some years ago, going on a vegan or a vegetarian diet may have been seen as something vain just related to the body. But it's actually something extremely beneficial for your soul, because body and soul are linked. I also want to mention that if humans will stay longer on Earth, they will have a higher sense of belonging there, and they will take care of nature way more, as they will know that the future generations will be themselves. If there was a common belief on immortality, people will work more on creating a better Earth, on living more connected with nature, more connected to each other. And again, I want to repeat that knowing about immortality or working on it, just knowing that it's possible and that it exists, or just seeing people who have achieved that, will awake the desire of working on themselves spiritually of many people who will want to achieve it, will incentivize a lot of people to go through a spiritual path, which is very positive, either if they achieve immortality or not. But they will know that it's a higher state, and they will be able to see it with their own eyes, and they will see how much humans are able to achieve. It will really increase the sense of being spiritual beings on humans, as nowadays some humans, they just see themselves as some meaningless meat and bones. If immortality will be normal, and there will be people who have achieved that, and who can openly say it, that will be a proof that there is a spiritual energy which is ruling your body, and that you are actually energy, and not just some meat and bones. It will really help a lot of people to awake, as the need for death is very strong in people, but the need for life is also very strong. You have a combination of those two forces. Another reason immortality will help the evolution of humans, it's because it's impossible to understand this concept or to achieve it or to believe it without realizing about the power of your own mind and spirit. And when you understand that, you also understand that humanity is living under a massive hypnosis. You are constantly hypnotized by media, by the educational system, by the governments, and by many things around you since you are born. Many ideas are implanted on you, and your life is ruled by that ideas even if you don't realize about it. If by seeing immortality you will understand the power of your own mind and the power of your own spirit, you will be less likely to fall into those programs, or you will at least be aware that they are programming you, because you will pay attention to your own mind and beliefs, as this is the first step to achieve immortality. There is more benefits of immortality. For example, in the way you reproduce. The wish for immortality is a natural call of your soul. All of you have that call, even if you don't realize about it. And some of you try to fulfill that call in the wrong ways, like having children, expecting them to be an extension of you and to somehow make you immortal and fulfill all your expectations like if they were your property. Or sadly, sometimes it's seen like an investment for old age. This thing which is said, who will take care of you in the future? Which is really sad and really diminishes the meaning of love. Even if there is no bad intention behind those ideas. I will continue with this subject on my next message. Every cell of your body vibrates with eternal love.